Do it.
For the inhale. Hi, welcome back. It's Mary Weiden and You. Happy New Year, everybody. Glad to have you along with us today. Yeah, this is live, and I hope you enjoyed some reruns during the holidays or whatever things. Also, some other things are going on days that we would have done this show. So I hope that all that is, that's sort of in our rearview mirror, I guess you'd have to say. One of the things that, an important thing we're going to talk about today is Chief Joseph Wade is here at Jackson Police. He's got 1 year behind him, and there's a whole brand new year. Just a couple things for today. The legislature gavels in at noon today, and I heard some of that this morning. We'll talk about that later on, about getting rid of the sales tax and things that they're going to be doing. And the mayoral elections are on the horizon. I see that Mayor Lumumba is going to run for re-election, even though he's indicted on these federal charges, but he says he's not running scared or running like a guilty man or something like that. And Mary Hawkins Butler is running for re-election. She's having a battle with, and she's going to win it with breast cancer. She'll win that. And here's luck to everybody. And we'll talk more about that as well. I'll tell you about the skating rink. I've been there. Ooh. Anyway, but Chief Wade, welcome to the show. Happy New Year.
It is an absolute honor to be here. I hope you had a very safe holiday season and Happy New Year. Happy 2025.
I know. We're living in the quarter of a century now. Isn't that weird? I mean, where did that go? It seems like it was the new century a couple days ago.
Time has flown. You know, I tell people all the time I started with JPD back in 1995.
Wow.
And this is 2025. I would have never dreamed I would have made it this far, this long in law enforcement.
And, you know, you're the top guy, and you can't go any further, so you have to stay where you are and do what you've been doing. And I think you had, and all in all, the homicide rate was lower in Jackson for 2024. But I think your big happiness thing that you're good about is that these, how many, 70, 80% of them are solved.
81%.
Oh, wow. And I also heard you say, but if they're not adjudicated, that's not up to you. I mean, whatever happens to those people, no. But you have solved all those cases.
Yes, 81% of that 104 homicides were solved. We have a great, outstanding investigative team, our detectives, our leadership, Deputy Chief Banks. But it's also about communicating with the community. The community helped us solve some of those cases as well. They now trust us to give us that information, and it helped us out tremendously in 2024, and I expect it to help us going forward in 2025.
Is that something new? Because I heard something over the last few days about the terrible attack in New Orleans, and how the FBI was talking about depending on reaction and help from the community, as if that's something new. What is that?
You have to build community trust. If the community does not trust law enforcement, then they're not going to communicate with you. I worked in homicide for 9 years as a young detective and sergeant and lieutenant, and sometimes you would go to communities or you would have someone killed in the middle of a nightclub and nobody saw anything. It's because they do not trust law enforcement. They do not want to give you that information. And it still exists today, but not to that type of proportion. You know, we have people that are sharing information with us. We're utilizing technology. More importantly, we're utilizing our state partners and our federal partners. And that's how we got that 81% solvability rate.
Well, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Keep it up. Just don't have so many. I see the homicide rate is a little bit lower the last couple of years.
Yes, it is a little lower, but like I tell the team all the time, and I tell the public, and I tell the media, I'm not going to have a victory lap. I'm not going to hand out participation trophies, because it still symbolizes that we have an issue with conflict. We have an issue with people not knowing how to mitigate conflict, and they go from zero to an assault rifle. But, Mary, this is the most important thing that stands out to me. Over 60% of our homicides were committed by people that knew each other.
Yep, that's
Family,
the thing.
friends, loved ones, and acquaintances, people that knew each other. They could not mitigate conflict and decided to take someone's life.
You know, I've heard police say also, if you're walking down a street and it's a quiet street, you don't know what goes on in those houses.
Oh, absolutely
you have no
not.
knowledge of what's going on. And, a little while later, there may be some mass murder at a house. And you can't, people need to understand. Police cannot know that. You can't read minds.
No, and I think some people think we can, but we can. I mean, you have, 140 to 150,000 residents in the city of Jackson. Unfortunately, we had 104 homicides, but thank God we made arrests in 81% of those cases, so we know that they won't be out pillaging our community anymore. They will be held accountable. We're going to do everything to make sure we have good, efficient cases, working with our state and federal partners to make sure these people are prosecuted.
I always believe that the whole thing about murder, particularly, and assault crimes and so on, it's behavior. You don't just haul off and hit somebody. You don't haul off and shoot somebody. You have to. It has to be. It's up behavior. And then I saw this. I'm thinking about this last night, and I saw this story that says that a third. Now this is just so gross. In Jackson, a third teenager has been arrested in connection with a shooting involving an off-duty reserve deputy after the teens tried to allegedly steal the deputy's vehicle. And Detective Tommy Brown said there was an unidentified 17-year-old arrested on Sunday, charged with armed carjacking and aggravated assault, denied bond during an appearance in court on Monday. Previously, JPD arrested a 14-year-old and a 16-year-old connected to this whole thing. And they shot at the officer, and then they came back because they were in a stolen vehicle. Then they came back and shot at the guy again. Like, what the heck is going on with these? What is going on with these kids? I mean, those are the ones, and those are the ones you need to get to. And whoever their parents are, if they have parents or guardians or something, those are the people, don't you think? How do you get to them?
There is where the problem lies. And I say this all the time to the community and people that will listen to me. We have some parents and grandparents in the city of Jackson doing a wonderful job raising their children. But the issue is the ones that are not properly raising their children. They're not training them up. There's no way that a 14-year-old should be out on Sunday morning shooting at anybody, attempting to carjack anybody, and now this 14-year-old that we're talking about is in jail on a $2 million bond. This child has been failed on so many levels. And like I tell people all the time, Mary, these problems didn't start inside the police department.
That's right.
They started inside somebody's home. This 14-year-old was not raised properly, he was not trained properly, and he's out here pillaging our community. But guess what? Our team worked so swiftly. We identified these 5 individuals like in a day or so, who they were, where they were located. We've arrested 3 of them. We still have 2 more that's out and about. We look forward to getting them. But we are soliciting help from the community, the churches, organizations. We've got to save this next generation.
Well, I sometimes think, would it be to the advantage to take these kids, whether they have to be in handcuffs or whatever, to these community meetings that you have? I mean, would that, so they can see what people want to know and what people are trying to do, what y'all are trying to do, because they may hear what you're trying to do, but they don't know. And they need to be, it seems to me, in a place where this kind of stuff is going on, where they observe it, or I don't know, if it'd be good if you could question them. Well, you can't. Legally, you would say, well, who do you think you are, kid, going around blaming people?
And the thing about it, too, we have to understand when we're dealing with juveniles, how the juvenile justice system is set up, and the criminal justice system overall is that it's designed to rehabilitate juveniles instead of punish. But when these juveniles commit a crime with a gun, they're being charged as an adult. So now this 14-year-old kid is being charged as an adult. We know that this kid psychologically, his brain has not matured to the point where he should be making these type of decisions. That's why he needs parents. That's why he needs leadership. That's why he needs people to show him the proper way to go out and live life. I have a 13-year-old godson, wonderful kid. I had him to write me out a list this past holiday season about what his goals are. His first goal was go to college. He's 13-year-old. Wow. He's a 13-year-old. So that's what this 14-year-old should be thinking about instead of, hey, my goal is to go out and carjack somebody at a gas station on Sunday morning.
Well, look at that 14-year-old girl from Rankin County, whatever her name was, I can't remember now, but the 14-year-old girl who shot her mother to death. Yes. I mean, that's what, what is going on up there? And her mother was a teacher and all this kind of stuff. Yes. And she decided that she should kill her.
Yeah, we have kids that are being influenced by social media. We have kids that are being influenced by just the media as a whole or entertainment. And they think that is life, and that's not life. When you shoot and kill somebody, that is final. That is finality. There's no way you can say, I'm sorry, you can't take it back and cry in a courtroom. That doesn't work. You have taken this person's life and they're gone forever, and we've got to educate and we've got to invest in our youth. And that's why we have so many youth programs within JPD, and that's why I'm out constantly fighting to, fight for investment in law enforcement, invest in your police department, because that's an investment in your community, an investment in safety for all of our citizens.
Well, when you do that, and these plans and programs for kids, do you go out into those kids if they're at an event and say, whatever, ask me questions, kids, ask me what you want to know, what do you want? And do they say, hey, I need some help, or hey, my mother says it's okay to have a gun, or something like that?
Absolutely. And you talk to some of these kids, and I've been coaching and mentoring kids to youth basketball for the past 18 years. A lot of these kids come from a lot of different backgrounds, and once you talk to them, you can't judge them. You can't critique them. You got to listen to their story and try to give that mother or that family the resource that they need to get this kid on the right path, and that's what we're trying to do with our youth crime prevention program.
Can you go to the youth detention center and have sessions with them, just talk sessions, just, hey, let's just sit down and talk about what's going on or not?
They got to have an attorney present. What
the heck?
Yeah, but I do spend a lot of time in the youth detention center. We have an amazing youth court judge, Judge Carolyn Higgs. We meet and we talk all the time because, you have to realize they have a capacity down there. There's about 40 to 50 beds for these kids. So when you have so many down there that's being charged as adults, it does not give you room or space to deal with youth that are down there that have been arrested for status offenses, kind of low-hanging fruit. But making that arrest will prevent them from graduating to other higher-level crimes.
So what else are you going to do this year?
Yeah, exactly. We got a lot of work to do. I'm very excited about it. We have to stay locked in and laser focused on what the mission is. We have to continue our collaboration with the county, the state, and our federal partners, and realize it's not about us, it's about the community that we serve.
Do you have enough cameras, no matter where you go, it seems like in this country now, cameras are going to follow you. Do we have enough cameras in Jackson? And I'm sure that there are lots of them. Obviously, we don't know about them. We can see the ones on the traffic. We can see the ones on the lights. We see those. We get that. We see those. But, do you have enough cameras around town?
We have a lot of cameras around town, and like you just stated, sometimes you know they're there, sometimes you do not know that they're there. But we are putting up new cameras as I speak. But also the next layer to that, we're putting up license plate readers around the city of Jackson. We're going to have about 16 of them situated at different locations. You are not going to know that it's there. It's going to be snapping these tag numbers because we have the criminal element that is ingressing and egressing around the city in stolen vehicles, carjacked vehicles, or individuals that are wanted for homicides and carjacking. So we're going to be working very closely, utilizing technology to get those numbers down, but more importantly, hold these individuals accountable.
And you got the budget for it?
Yes, it was approved. Thank God. Everything that I asked for the last budget cycle, I got. We got 15 new vehicles that we're going to roll out.
Good. What kind are they, by the way?
They're going to be Durangos, but they're going to display the new design and logos of the Jackson Police Department.
And pray tell, she said, what do they look like?
We are retiring that orange stripe that everybody loves so much. We're going to go back to more traditional law enforcement look, and we're going to assign those vehicles out probably at the end of this month or 1st of February.
Black cars with white on them?
It's going to be white, and we're going to go back to the traditional blue with a little trim of black in there. It's going to look really, really nice. I went up to the location yesterday and talked to the people that are designing it for me.
Durangos, huh?
Durangos, 15 new Durangos. We asked for pay raises for the police officers, so I've gotten pay raises the past year and a half that I've been chief, not one but two for our police officers. We got the license plate readers. We got more blue light surveillance cameras. It's not about investing in me. It's about investing in these citizens who need to be safe when they go home at night.
Absolutely. And during the day, too. It doesn't make any difference. Shoot, you don't want to think, can't go down.
You can't go gas your vehicle up without somebody trying to take it, or hear somebody shooting all night. I call it foolishness and chaos. We've got to, eradicate that out of the city of Jackson.
Do you get a lot of bad guy traffic from New Orleans? I wonder if they think they can come up here and hide.
Not really. We get a lot of bad guy traffic coming from up north, the Memphis area, coming down into North Mississippi, then matriculating their way down to Jackson. And that's where a lot of our gang activity originated, and it came south. We don't really have an issue with it coming north. We have an issue with the crime coming from Memphis down to Jackson. I've talked to law enforcement chiefs and sheriffs in DeSoto County, Tunica, all of them have that issue. Greenville, Greenwood, that gang activity that's coming south.
Well, I worry about Mississippi because I've seen maps where Tren de Aragua is in, I think they're in Louisiana, and they're in Tennessee. Mm-hmm. They're not in Arkansas, but they're not in Mississippi. Well, come on. I mean, we're right there, and it's very scary because they are really
close.
Bad.
That's why we now have an intelligence unit. We did not have an intelligence unit. It's like we regressed in intelligence because when I came on in the 90s, we had an intelligence unit. Now we have that back in place where we're scrubbing social media. We're identifying who these people are. We're making field contacts. We're taking pictures of people so we know who they are, and we're disseminating that information out to the public, internally, and part of our case files.
Well, that's good. In addition to the Tren de Araguas, and as I've seen everything about it, they make our gangs look like kindergartners, but we still have some pretty bad people.
Well, and I have to educate the public. I have to educate my team as well. A lot of people think that, hey, these are just wannabes. Wannabes are the most dangerous because they're always trying to prove something. So that's what we're faced with, a lot of individuals who have developed these community and neighborhood pockets, and they're going out pillaging our community. But we've identified what gangs there are in the city of Jackson. We've communicated where they've originated from, and we're also sharing that information with the U.S. Attorney's Office and with our federal partners. And like I stated all the time, I'm not just trying to put them in jail for the weekend, Mary.
That's right.
I'm trying to put them in there for the long haul.
Absolutely. I was so surprised that down in New Orleans, the bad guy, Jamar, whatever his name was, they saw him putting things in coolers and whatever, and his IEDs were in there. And they saw him do a lot of stuff. Well, why didn't somebody, if you saw somebody doing something like that, wouldn't you be a little curious? Wouldn't you want to just talk with that guy at least? I mean, you can do that, can't you? You can't just put cuffs on somebody, but you got to follow somebody to find out, to get a clue about, because this guy was leaving evidence all over the place. Hey, here I am.
Yeah. Man, that's why I am, and I've been talking about this. First of all, my heart, prayers, and condolences go out to all the families and loved ones that were impacted about the violence in New Orleans. But guess what? We know that Jackson is a soft target. We have a lot of major events to go on here in the city of Jackson, so I'm already meeting with our federal partners today.
Good.
I'm meeting with our state partners today, and we're going to make sure that we utilize every resource that we have to make sure that does not happen in the city of Jackson.
I think the next big event is the Dixie National.
Well,
we got something before that one?
We have something before that. We have the JSU HBCU celebration parade.
Oh, good. By the way, I was so proud. I'm so proud of Jackson State anyway. Because I thought when Prime left, I thought, well, gee, thanks a lot, buddy. And you left. Well, guess what? They're the best, number one. And I saw their performance at the parade, and gosh, we got to go.
Yes.
They were fabulous. And the whole thing about Mississippi, good.
Yeah, I love JSU.
Good.
Coach Taylor did a great job.
Yes, he did.
Both of my kids are graduates of Jackson State University, so I love JSU, and we should be proud that our team is a national champion.
Yes, absolutely. And that the band, Sonic Boom, oh my God, they're the best.
They did.
You have to run off, though, don't you?
Yes, I do. I have a 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock, a 2 and a 5, so I have a very busy day.
Well, thank you for coming by. We booked you in December. We didn't know. But anyway,
thank you so much.
You'll be back.
Yes, I'll be back
real soon.
All right. Thank you. God
thank you
bless
so very much. All right, everybody. We will be back. Thanks, Joseph Wade. We'll see you soon. Hey, welcome back. It's Mary Weiden You. Now it's between us, folks. Just you and me. All right, we're at 888-808-8637. Should you ever decide that you would like to call in, we are at 601-879-4395. If you'd like to text us, I'm just opening the phones here and have some things to share with you, and I'd love to know what you think about them. First of all, the fun stuff. I want to tell you that I did get to the skating rink in Brandon over vacation, and my friend from Hazelhurst, who is Central Mississippi's, maybe, except for, there's a rink up in Olive Branch, our only official ice skating coach, and that's Dodie Harrell. Hey, Dodie, I'm out in your hair, kiddo. Hope you're watching and listening today. We wanted to see the new skating rink, how that was working in Brandon. So we met for lunch, and then we went over to the rink, and it's pretty cool. We decided it's pretty cool. Neither one of us can skate. I can't skate because if I do and I hurt a hip, I'm in trouble. The insurance company will not ever pay. I can't even, I was thinking it'd be kind of nice to put my skates on, just walking around my house with my guards on. That would feel pretty good. No, because I could fall over in my house. How do you explain that? Duh, I was walking around my house in my ice skates and I fell over. No, that doesn't work. And she can't skate because she's got some issues, medical things, and she may have to have a hip replacement surgery herself. So there we are, a couple of ex-skaters gimping along. But But the rink itself, so we didn't have skates on, but I had some my cowboy boots on, and I had some, along the edges of the sole, and I turned it over, and I felt it. It felt like real ice, I must say. It's exactly which is what it's supposed to do. Feel like real ice, and it's 41 by something or other. It's a decent size.
What is that stuff called again? Glice?
Glice.
Glice, yes.
Glice. And it's white, by the way. And the thing online, it's black, but it's white in person, and you can see the squares. It's in squares that might be 3x5s. Maybe they're a little bit bigger than that. But there's no seam or anything that interrupts anything. It's just all right, very smooth all across the whole thing. There weren't any skaters at the time because it was before they would open up that day. They were opening up at 4:00 that day. But we talked to Dodie, had a long conversation about the whole thing about teaching on the ice and all that. And I finally understood why we did the show here, and I understood now why. And it's open until the 11th, by the way. And it's owned by the city of Brandon. So, hey, folks, look for future things. That's all I can say. I don't know what they're going to do, but hopefully they'll have some stuff where we can put the rink out. And you can add to it. You just tack on some what do you call them? Some pieces anyway. You can tack on. You can make it very big. You can make it huge if you want to. But so she was asking about lessons and stuff. And so why they don't want toe picks and why they don't want jumping is because those things will gouge the ice. Well, I call it ice, but gouge the surface. And when it's on ice, if there's a gouge or a hole in it, you just put a little ice in it. You can just see some along the side. Just put it in there, maybe put a little water on it, or just pack it down. I thought that they had something they could fill stuff like that in with, and they really don't. So that's why they don't want you doing that. They can replace a panel. That's the word I'm looking for. They can replace a panel if something is really pretty horrible. But and I think that must not be a very heavy cost. And then she was asking about how thick it is, and it's quite thick. It's it has some stuff under the surface, some things under there that make it sturdy. It's a good product, and so if you teach things though, you would be wearing hockey skates, which don't have toe picks on them. But I must say, I have seen hockey skaters do stuff. They can do stuff that we can with our figure skates, but you wouldn't be doing that. You wouldn't be doing any jumping there or anything. But you could learn an awful lot of basic skills in how to ice skate, and even know how to get up. Do you know how to get up when you fall down? The last thing you do is lie, sit there and shush your feet forward like that. No, you have to get on all fours and you come up that way. Is how you do that. And I didn't remember this, but I had taught a class one time when we had a rink here. For some reason, they needed to have somebody to teach some kids, and so I did. I vaguely now I was reminded of it, have a chance, but I can do some teaching. The main thing is getting up and stopping. This is another thing. You learn to stop with, you put your skates together like this, and you're pressing like that. You're not going to do a hockey stop where both your skates are lined up and you're, oh boy, really cool, right? You're going to do a snowplow stop. Is the way you learn how to do that kind of stuff, and you learn how to. You can't push like this. You push off the sides of the skates, stuff like that. But anyway, we talked about those things, and it was I was very impressed. And then I wanted to see what the skates look like. Because they are hockey skates, but I don't think they're normal hockey skates. And these things they're like plastic boots. All skates are boots and blades, but the actual boot it's a plastic. It sort of reminds me of ski boots a little bit, and it's good and sturdy, so you're not going to hurt your ankles, which is a good thing. You're not going to flop around so much on your ankles with these boots, and it's a good quality product. And then we got to see the sharpening machines that they have. They are only for those skates, so they're only for hockey skates. They don't do figure skate sharpening there. But, they put the boot in there and the blade goes back and forth. You can do two at the same time because there are two machines, and I think that's good too. You got to keep your sharpened blades. That's one thing that everybody seems to realize, that on artificial ice, you have to push harder if you're going to get someplace in a hurry. You just push harder. You would learn how to do that. And you would also, on that surface, you have to sharpen your blades a little bit more than you would normally. So you get them sharpened, and they've got that stuff there. So it's a good deal, everybody. So go on out there and get a chance to do a little bit of ice skating. I think it's a fun thing, and it's a good thing. I got through it I think it was part of what's her name's part of Kelly Dabbs. I think that's where we were. We found a parking lot. And we didn't see signs around, and so when we met Robert Graham, by the way, we were sitting in a parking lot, and so this car pulled up, and we didn't know who it was. Well, he got out of the car, and that's who it was. But I said, "Hey, where were all these signs?" Well, it had been really windy the day before, and the signs got blown all over the place. But you can follow the signs, and you'll see. We got to it off of 80. And you can certainly see, this land is so beautiful. You can see it you can see I-20 is right there. And so what a great place to put a whole facility of skating would be so cool. I talk about it and dream about it, and we all do dream about having a regular ice skating rink full-time year-round. And let me tell you something. Ain't nothing better than going to the skating rink in the middle of the summertime. Oh, in Mississippi, it's great. You just, you put on your whatever you want, shorts and whatever. But you wear I wear a tankini top when I go in the summertime. It's just wonderful. Oh, it's so great to skate like that. Then you walk outside, and you're going to be cold because you get cold in there. And you walk outside, and you're cold for a few minutes. Like, wow, how good is this? But anyway, you learn a lot of things, too, while you're at it. But it's a good facility, folks. And I would suggest that you go down there and take advantage of it. Like I said, they're open until the 11th of the month, and so that is going to be next. This Friday? No, this Friday is the 10th. So it's Saturday the 11th, probably their last day. So and they've had good response, but I want you to give them a big response and tell them, hey, we want more of this kind of stuff because it's cool. It's very cool for everybody to do. And one day, if they crank it up bigger, then if they want to have people teaching, well, I know somebody who can teach. I'm not looking for me. No, I'm looking for my friend. That woman, Dodie Harrell, came up every day for years from Hazelhurst to the rink on Lakeland every day. She put a lot of miles on her car, but it doesn't matter. And when she's out there on the ice and teaching, she's the happiest person in the world because the world does not exist. It's all about the skating. It's about the people skating and what they're doing, whether they're kids or teenagers or adults, whatever. She teaches all these levels. And she teaches, from low-level stuff to beginning to jumps and spins and, things like that. And she choreographs programs for those who like to compete. Now, I was not a competitor. I just wanted to enjoy my skating. I competed against the book when we did our synchronized team called the Ice Wave. And we would, because there wasn't anybody to compete against, there still isn't. You compete against the book. So, what you're supposed to be doing as a group like that. That was fun. I liked that. I went to one competition and I made me nervous. I thought, wait, I don't want to do this anymore. So, okay, I checked it out. But you can learn how to do that from this woman. And, of course, you got to have a rink. And so hopefully, Brandon, you can expand this one. And maybe one day somebody can put an ice rink. I like my idea. I still like this idea of a double floor. Well, you can actually make it a triple floor. A double floor anyway. Skating facility where one side of it is for roller skating, and they do on roller skates, what we do on ice skates. I mean, they spin, they jump, and I've seen it on Instagram, and I've watched when they're spinning. So they're on four wheels, and sometimes they're up on their toes in the spin, and then they'll rock back down on those back wheels, and they're still doing the spin. I don't know how they do it. I have no clue about how that's done. It's like. Who knows? We don't know how to do that around here, but they do all that stuff, the same jumps, the axles and all that kind of stuff. Well, you can have that. And it's called, what I say they call it, variegated? That's not it. It's artistic. It's artistic skating is what that is. And then you would have a middle part, and then you put on the other side the ice rink, and you can have in the middle where you get checked into either one of those places, and you can have so you're going to go ice skating. Okay, so you would do that. Just enter in the middle and go either to the roller skating, or to the ice skating, and you could have an artificial ice for basic stuff. You teach basic things on basic skills, I guess, on how to use hockey skates, that you can transfer that ability over into figure skating if you like. Figure skating is a good thing, by the way. It teaches you a lot of coordination. It's fun and teaches you very good coordination. And maybe one day you can be like gosh, what's his name? Malinin is his last name. Can't think of the guy's name. A Russian guy. Russian birth. His parents are from Russia. He's from the United States. Malinin is his last name. He's 17 years old now, I guess. He's national champion. He kind of followed the footsteps of Nathan Chen. You could get like that. Or you could just be a normal skater. Just, go and have some fun. I would love that. It just takes a little bit of money. Anyway, that's the fun stuff. The other fun thing was that Jackson State, the Sonic Boom was in the Rose Parade, and I don't guess I realized that. And somebody said to me, oh, yeah, they were there. So I saw a little bit on the news later on. It was Sonic Boom, and there was a float with people from Mississippi, allegedly. People allegedly, like Elvis, an Elvis impersonator, and some other. Bobby Rush's name was there. That was good, but the sonic boom. So I think it was on Channel 3 later that night. They played the whole thing, I think, that the sonic boom did, and they were very impressive. And we talked about that with the chief. How Jackson State is like big stuff, and they're going to have this big celebration. He said, and hooray for them. Of course, the sonic boom has been a big asset to Jackson State for a lot of years, but the country doesn't know about that. The whole country like what? Yeah, well, they're really very good. And I think that's terrific. And I also am so proud of the football team. I mean, man, oh man, they won the championship. That's big stuff too, because I thought that they were really down and out when Prime left. And I thought, what a cruel thing for him to do, and it's, disheartening to the whole school and all this kind of stuff. Well, the new football coach he's no schlep. He knows his stuff, and he knows his kids, and he knows his school, and they're number one. So yay for them. Don't you think that's very cool? Now, on the other side of things, we have municipal elections. We have candidates getting lined up for that. We have Mary Hawkins Butler. She's doing her thing. And Lumumba is indicted, but he says he's not going to hide out because he didn't do anything wrong. He's running for re-election. Butch Lee is running for re-election in Brandon. And it's his name, Fred. Fred Shanks is running. He's in the legislature, but he is running for mayor of Brandon. And those are the only two that I can think of around here. So there'll be more. There are more, by the way, running in Jackson for the mayor. What they have to do is get their papers, the qualifying papers. Now, this is when it's so important for you to get involved in this. You think of somebody who'd be really good for mayor, and you obviously talk with that person, and you get them to do all the paperwork they have to do, and by the 31st of this month. So there's time to get help. You want the city helped out? Get some help. Find some people who can run. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes. It's Mary Weiden and You. Anyway, on the more serious side of things, hi, welcome back to Mary Weiden You. So it's time to get in mind and get behind somebody that you think would be a good mayor for whatever city that you live in or whatever city you support. The qualifying time expires now on January 31. So you got between now and the 31st of the month to find somebody, talk with somebody, or more than one person who's going to be good, who you think would be good to run for the mayor of Jackson is the one that probably everybody concentrates on. So that's what you ought to be doing there. And I said for I don't know who else is running, who would run against Mary Hawkins Butler, but there would be somebody. I'm surprised that there would be. But anyway, so you got that. You got Butch Lee running against in Brandon, running against it's Fred Shanks, who's a state lawmaker at the moment, and he's running to be mayor. Lumumba's running in Jackson. And there's a story in the news. Oh, there's a whole bunch of people, but I don't know who they are. I know a couple of names. John Horn is the most prominent name running against and running for mayor of the city of Jackson. He's a native Jacksonian. He's done a lot of things, including he's still in the legislature too. So you have that, and so you've got that, and then after you get them qualified, let me see. The runoffs, or not the runoffs, but the party primaries are going to be April 1. What a day, right? What a day. April Fool's Day, are you kidding me? So those are the party primaries, and that means that the Democrats will have their balloting, and then the Republicans will have theirs. And so then what happens is if you are going to vote in a runoff, because there might be runoffs, which will be April the 22nd. If you voted on the Democrat side the first time around, then you have to vote in that same party, the Democrats on the runoff. Vice versa. If you're Republican, you voted that first, then you have to vote in the Republican primary. Then the general election is on the 3rd of June. Obviously, in the general election, you vote for whomever you wish. That's not sponsored by the parties like the primaries are. And so then, and when do they take effect? July 1, right before July 4th. How about that? New officers, new mayors or old mayors coming back will take their oaths of office on July 1. You have that. Now today we have the legislature gaveling in, and I was listening to the show this morning with Trey Lamar, who's chairman of House Ways and Means. Some of the usual stuff. I wrote this down last night. Let's see. We got education, Medicare, and they're like, we talk about that forever and ever. The budget, that's kind of forever stuff. So then the big thing might be getting rid of the state income tax, and there was this discussion about it. And I heard him say that, the state doesn't have anything to do with it would not affect property taxes. And so the reason why that is, if there's no income tax, and where's the state going to get money? Well, obviously, your county. It's the counties that set property taxes. It's not the state. It's the counties that set the property taxes. And who enforces all that and who increases those taxes without even a vote for us at various times would be the county supervisors. Like, remember in Rankin County, boy, there's a good group for you, and I have to pay their taxes. A county can raise 3 mills in taxes anytime they want to, and supposedly it's always for education. But whatever, if they need to do that, they can just do that. Now, depending on the value of your house, it will make a difference. If your house doesn't cost a whole lot, then you won't notice it. If your house costs a lot, you'll notice it. So the 3%, they can do that. 3 mills, excuse me. It is not done by the state. The state doesn't have anything to do with property taxes, and I validated that with him, with the chairman, because he was still here when I got here, and I just wanted to validate that. I make sure I remember correctly, because I have covered the legislature. That's a mysterious place and a mysterious world. Ooh, the under the dome syndrome. That's a whole different thing. But anyway, so if you're taxed, and he says, but that won't happen because the counties they'll have enough money without having to raise property tax as well. If you lay it on them and say, hey, guess what? You can raise taxes. Are you kidding me? Zoom, up goes my taxes. Now, a few years ago, Rankin County decided that there was a teacher's raise that was done by the state. They just said, well, we'll give our people more. We'll just give them an extra $15,000 a year more. Without a vote from us? Are you kidding me? That's taxation without representation. But everybody's like, oh, well, what the heck? They're allowed to do that. And it's not who you put in office there. It's the law that lets them do that. And I don't know why that law. So in other words, I'm saying that supervisors, perish the thought, seem to run things a lot around here. You know that, don't you? They do. And I remember years ago there was a sample on the ballot that said, the counties could have less than 5 supervisors if they so decided. Well, that went down in flames. Every county wants to have 5 supervisors and 5 cars and 5 offices and 5 cell phones and blah, 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 blah. Like Sharkey, Issaquah County, those are always the ones. They have 3 people live there, and the supervisors have got all their kind of stuff. They don't need that. What do we need to have supervisors in the cities? What do we need to have a supervisor for? Why do I have to have? Well, I don't, because I don't live in the city. But if I lived in Jackson, why do you have to have supervisors in the middle of things as well? You already got enough elected officials, for heaven's sakes. Why do you have to have that too? But that's the way we've always done it, and that's the way it has to be. No, well. By the way, those are terms that you would never use around Donald Trump. You would never say, well, Mr. Trump, that's the way we've always done it. Are you kidding me? You'd be out of there so fast if you said that to him. That's not how he operates. Not at all. But anyway, so and I would like to see an elimination of the sales tax on groceries. Aren't we like the only one or one of the very few states that taxes groceries? And if we don't tax groceries, if the sales tax, if it isn't there, then who's gonna lose out on that deal? Shoppers, eventually, or they're gonna raise prices or whatever. And prices, by the way, keep going up and up and up and up and up. The other day I went for a few things, $72. I'm like, what? What? It's terrible. I mean, it's just awful. And I didn't even buy any fresh food. I just bought stuff I had to have. But I would like to see an elimination of that, or at least reduce it, for God's sake, from 7% down to 2% or something like that. It would certainly help out an awful lot. So what do y'all think about that? And by the way, New Orleans was so sad. That was just the saddest thing in the world. I remember waking up, and I flipped on TV just to see. I always zoom around and see what's going on in the morning. I saw that, like, oh my God. And it must have been in the night, maybe. Maybe it was like 4 in the morning, something like that. That's the nighttime. Here was this awful thing happening in New Orleans, and that prompted me to ask the chief about having enough cameras. They got a lot of cameras down there. They didn't necessarily use them to their benefit, but they got a lot of cameras down there. Do we? Yes, we do. We have cameras, and obviously we don't know where they are. And they're not going to tell us, which is fine. So that just means when you're out in public, don't act stupid, because somebody's going to see you. Somebody's going to find you. And I wish that people had found this guy. Well, they found him, but they didn't do anything about him, leaving his coolers around with stuff. I don't understand that. I mean, although you can't go up to somebody and say, "Hey, what do you got in that cooler?" You can't exactly do that, but you can keep an eye on it.
They do that in Oxford, in the Grove, in places. I mean, if you're pulling
now
a cooler,
that-
you can. But I'm just saying, it seems like in a touristy area,
You would think.
that you would have the right to say, "Hey,
Who's
what's in
this
your
guy?
cooler? Yeah, what are you doing, man?"
Who's this guy? What you got any IEDs in there, buddy? Jeez. That was such a terribly sad thing. So let me tell you some other things that are coming up on the show. I'm so excited. Next Tuesday, we're going to be talking about the Magnolia Classic Dog Show. I think last year when they had it, I was in the Slammer maybe, and I didn't get to see it. I don't know, the joint as I called it. I got home on the 12th of January last year. When I was recuperating, they wouldn't let me go home. I called this up. Wouldn't let me come home because I couldn't walk independently, and you have to be able to walk independently. You can't use a walker or anything like that if you live alone. But the dog show is coming. That is such a great show. It's going to be on the 16th, 17th, and 18th, I think, or 17, 18, 19. I'll know more when I see it. But certainly that Friday and that Saturday, we'll be able to. And you can go to the dog show, and they have fabulous. This is an AKC sponsored thing. So breeds, you can see all the breeds that you want to. I heard of a new one, by the way, the other day. It's Danish Swedish. It's called a Danish Swedish farm dog. That's what it's called. A Danish Swedish farm dog, and it looks like a Jack Russell is what it looks like. But it's a big deal. It's new into the AKC. I don't know if we'll have one here. We'll find out on the 14th, a week from today. But it's a great thing. You get to see these dogs up close and personal. You really do, and you get to. I think it's fascinating to watch the class shows. They'll have all the poodles, for instance, between the ages of 1 and 2 or something like that, and they'll run in their ring, and you can look and see if the one you think should win it. It may be the one. It may not be the one. One of our guests is going to be a man who was on the show a couple of years ago. He is, I think he's a doctor, but he also wanted to be a dog show judge. And you don't just go and say, well, I like a certain breed, so I like to judge. No. It doesn't work that way at all. There's a whole lot of education. And you have to know everything. You have to sort of have the book in your head of all these breeds, because you might be the whole final. You might be the judge of the whole final thing, and you got to know everything about what's the difference between an Afghan and let's see, what's that pile of hair that I call? I just can't remember. What's the little tiny ones that have a lot of hair? You have to know
like a Pomeranian.
No, even smaller than that. More hairy, much more hairy.
Pekingese.
Yes, yeah. You got to know the difference between. Well, Pekingese. You have to know in your head what the Pekingese does, and you have to know, let's say, that Great Dane. You got to know what the difference between which is better in terms of its breed, how it rates on its breed. So anyway, a lot of fun things coming up, and that's one of them. Friday, we'll do something with Carrie Davis, Pace Setter Gallery, the #1 gallery in the state of Mississippi these days. All right, everybody, have a good one. Stay warm. See ya.